Thank you for joining me on my Painted Purpose series. Today I have a very special guest with me, and her name is Shannon Shelton Mason. Today we will be discussing how to overcome trauma and adversity by faith. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I know that I've had the honor of knowing you and becoming familiar with your story, but I would love for you to share with everyone a little about yourself, what you have been through, and how you were able to overcome that.
Well, currently I am entering the nice 50th season of my life. God willing, I'll get to 50 this year, which is a blessing. The mother of four awesome people at this point, three daughters and a son, as you know. And there's plenty of background with them. I'm a wife, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's friend. I'm no different than anybody else. I had a good upbringing. My family was strong, very loving, playful. We had a lot of fun growing up. But even though I was born to two loving parents, they had their struggles with each other and, with us. They gave us the love that we needed, and they were as supportive as they could be for us in their way. So no real complaints. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I think they were perfect for myself and my siblings. We got what we needed. It disappeared on me. Sorry. And unbeknownst to them, even though we had such a strong family, we were really close. There were still some traumas that took place. Like I said, they weren't aware. They weren't even aware that these things could happen because it wasn't a part of their personal experience. So when things began to come about with me, it was kind of a blow. They didn't want to know how to handle it. And it was still all family related. They didn't have us around a lot of different people. But even within family, hurt people hurt people. As an adult now, I know that what I experienced at the hands of some relatives, with molestation and rape was probably more of a game for them than meant to be malicious because of our ages. But it took me years and years of heartache and a lot of, I won't say soul searching at first. That wasn't what it was. A lot of self-doubt. I didn't have a lot of confidence, not only in who I was becoming, but even what I had been through. It began to come to the surface because it had come about that one of my favorite people in the world had hurt his sister. And it was unfathomable, but it also connected some dots in my mind. These were things that I had suppressed, I had forgotten. I knew that something was wrong and I didn't feel easy, but I couldn't remember. There are gaps in my memory as a child. Even the way that my mind works now, it is very compartmentalized. And I do still go to counseling, talk about things. I went through a period of time because of all of this. And then even, when you go through trauma as a child, it taints your ability to choose people that are good for you when you get older. So then there's one bad relationship after another, and then there's trauma within those relationships. And, I had children relatively young. I started at 19, which by most people's standards, you're an adult, you can handle your life. But
Right.
at 19, I mean, I graduated from high school, but I still really had no direction. I had no confidence. I didn't understand. I thought I knew, but I was still in so much pain that the next thing that happened really threw me for a loop. I was suicidal. Even after my older two girls were born, the most poignant time that I remember, it wasn't that I sat and constantly thought about death. That was never the thing. I never thought, oh, I think I can just, slit my wrist. That was never the thing. It was more or less, if I die, it's fine. And if I don't, I'll deal with it, was how I felt about it. And it had come to a boiling point with my older two once my older two girls were born. I had gone through some immense pain with my older two children's father and their family. Not all of them, but the closer ones. They knew me better than to say the things that they were saying and to believe the things that they were believing. They knew. But because of who they are and the type of people I guess they decided to be, to me, it's a choice. You're either going to be a good person or you're not. I'm not a dishonest person and I don't like drama. So for them to have drugged me through the way that they did was almost more than I could handle. So much so that I had a day, I don't even remember where I was headed, but I had a really nice gray car. And I just remember thinking, it's pretty good with numbers. I could get this car up to speed. I can get it up to speed as this light changes, and I can head right through this light into that tree. And if I hit it at this angle, I won't survive that.
You pretty much had plotted out exactly a way for you to end your life. But God was bigger than that, right? God was bigger than that plan.
Let me tell you what, he showed me the faces. It's like, just as I'm looking at that tree, their little faces, as they were 2 and 3 or 1 and 3, their little faces just kind of appeared. And it's just, you hear that still small voice, what about them? And again, I don't remember where I was going. I don't know what it was. If it was an appointment, I turned the car around. I went home. I called my counselor and said, hey, I really wanted to drive this car into a tree today. And she said, what? And I explained to her exactly what I said to you. And she said, okay, so I want to see you tomorrow. Can we agree that tonight you won't do anything and you'll come see me tomorrow? I said, on my girl's life, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm telling you the truth, my girls, just them being alive saved my life. And knowing, at this point in time, I knew God for myself, but I hadn't quite developed the relationship that I needed. There were still so many broken things inside me that I didn't have a solid relationship. I knew that I was searching for that relationship. And I had been since I was little. What I was looking for was love. I remember sitting in church with my grandmother. It's one of the most vivid memories that I have of my mother's mother, sitting beside her in church with her little sweater around her shoulders. Mm-hmm. And we were going over 2 Corinthians, the last part of 2 Corinthians, and the greatest of these is love. And I looked up at grandma and said, what is love? Because in my mind, those people that were telling me that they loved me and then hurting me, that didn't mesh. The greatest thing is love. I don't even understand the word. And she simply looked down at my little face and said, God, and went back to service. And ever since then, that's been the search. That was who I was searching for. Well, if God is love, then I guess I got to find God, because I really want love. Mm-hmm. And it was something that never stopped. It just never stopped. It was little things. You make the mistake and you're like, man, how did I get so far off track? And then there's another baby, and this is another messed up relationship. And then there's another kid, and that relationship's not right. And then there's another situation worse than all the others. And I'm just like, how? I'm not lying to anybody. I'm not dating multiple people. I'm not stealing anybody's stuff. I'm not trying to trick anybody into anything. How am I getting into these situations? I just didn't understand. I could not understand that if everything in me wanted to do what was right, why am I not getting that back? And it was the brokenness that was, in a sense, calling out to everything else and bringing me broken stuff.
Right.
And hurt people.
So around what time was it that you felt that you were able to surrender to the Lord and actually have a relationship with him or some kind of connection with him that moving forward, it started to change your life?
I honestly think that connection started long before I even moved out of my mother and my mother and father's house. I was a little girl, and it didn't mean anything to me at the time. But we had a bedtime. We're in the bed, nobody's moving. But right. I would hear my name being called, and I would always go and check because, oh, God help you if mom calls you, but you don't answer.
Right. Right.
So I would go down and say, Mommy, did you call me? No, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. None of that made any sense to me until I was older and I was reading Elijah and Elijah. And Elijah went to bed and said, he kept hearing his voice calling. He would go and say, Master, did you call me? Here, he would go to him and say, here I am. I didn't call you. He did it 3 times. And then the 3rd time he said, Elijah told Elisha, the next time you hear your name called, say, Father, here I am. I had all 4 kids. I probably was 30 years old when I read that passage, and it was like a light bulb moment for me. It was a light bulb moment. It's like, wait a minute. So you've been here the whole time? I'm missing it. I remember just different points in time. I was in college. Did I have all 4 kids? I think I had all 4. And at some point, I just remember, just yelling at God. I was so mad. Things were going crazy. I'm in college and I'm trying to make all the right decisions. I'm sick. I can barely walk. My heart's not beating right. And I just remember crying out to God even then. I was no more than 26, 27 years old. I can't hear you. I don't know the difference to when you're speaking to me or when it's somebody else. Can you just close everything you don't want me to do and make it so that I can only go the way you want me to? Of course, hard-headed, but that's how I felt. So to pinpoint for me to say, there are people who say, I know on June 32nd, 1937, I was saved by the Lord. I don't have that moment because I have so many throughout my life where I can point back and look back and see that he was moving me even in those moments as a little girl, as a teenager, as a young woman. Despite all of the traumas and the mistakes and the things, I could see him when I look back making changes. I know that even through my trauma, I always felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. Who can I talk to? I didn't have. Right. So I became that for my little sister as much as I could. If she needed to talk, the world would stop and I would just listen. And I just started doing that for people. I became a safe place for other people because I never felt like I had that. And that brought me a lot of healing. Knowing that, there are people out there and they would say things and they're, even when you go to church, and I love going to church, but you confide in some people and, they're going to the church group circle, like, right. We need to pray for Sister Shannon. We're going to pray for her. Let me tell you, right. They got a whole spiel, and it's not about them actually praying for that spiel. It's just they need to gossip about what they said to you, right? And then you have other people come to you. Oh, girl, don't worry about that situation. It's going to be okay. Wait, right. I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you. Okay. So
the confidence and trust was broken.
Oh, the trust is broken everywhere. And I knew, even as a young woman, that I could be that fortress. Right. And I started even then. It's like the people would tell me things. It gets bad because strangers, will walk up to me and they tell me things about themselves. And then they turn around and say, I don't know why I just told you that. And for me, it's like I take it in. It's a deep breath and I say, Lord, take it. But I've always had that piece of myself. I realized, I think my kids were in their teens, that it was okay to not be okay. Right. My motto became, even through those tough moments where I just didn't know, it's like I've got, I got $30 and I need to put gas in the car so that I can go to work tomorrow, but we need bread and eggs and food stamps. And I learned really moment to moment
Mhm.
I just learned moment to moment, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And there would be little blessings that would come out of it. I went to church, and there would be a lady. She'd walk up to me, "Hey, kiddo." She was from. She was actually an Indian lady, but she was. Oh man, she was in Trinidad. Where was she? Jamaican. So she had a thick accent still, but she called me kiddo, or hey, Shannon. Sister Dean was my lifesaver, and she walked up to me and, hey, kid, she blessed me with $50 on a Sabbath morning to help me with the kids, or come over and help me get, for kids running around, and they're like stair steps, and my brain is all chaotic, and I'm just trying to live life, and I don't know how to do this. And that was my whole reason for going into the church. Like, I need somebody to help me figure this out, because I don't know what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm doing it all wrong, and I'm dropping the ball, and there were people that he was saying the whole time that would stand in the gap and help me. And I mean,
yeah, the Lord will work in mysterious ways. He definitely will. And he will bring along your path people that are going to help you. Like, he will never let you feel like you're alone.
Right.
Some way, somehow, he's going to show out to let you know he heard you, number one. And he got you. So no matter what we go through as single mothers, because I was a single mother myself, and I'm very familiar with those struggles. And I know what I went through and what I had to do in order to not only feed me and my children, but also put a roof over our head, to be able to provide the necessities of life. But now I'm playing a double role. I'm mother and I'm a father to my kids. So you find yourself in this struggle as a single parent, and at what point do you say, okay, that's not right, you shouldn't go down that path, or maybe you should go this way? Desperate moments, you're going to do what you got to do to survive, because survival mode automatically just kicks in, right? And so at that point, it's like, okay, if I can make an extra $5 here faster than over there, then your tendency is to go that way,
Trust me, I know,
and lean on that. And so, so things can get real complicated like that.
They got extremely complicated. And at one point, I mean, I was meeting people. Listen, do you want to know how many stripper joints I went to interview? Because I thought, you know what, this is going to be my night job. Because what? I mean, I never did it, but I was so close. I mean, the tips alone, people bringing home $300 and $400 a night.
Right. And that's what caused me to take the path that I had to jump into. I started to sell marijuana, and I was only nickel and diming, but it was on $5 here, $10 there. And at the end of the night, I had enough for food. I had enough to get caught up with some bills. And so, being a young parent, I had to make it happen. You know what I mean? And so I would jump into that cycle, that negative lifestyle. Nothing that I was ever proud of, but it was something that I had to do because I had no support. I didn't have anyone that I could have leaned on and said, I need. I knew that I had to do it. So I do understand you in respect to that.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I was blessed entirely. I mean, my father was very supportive. My parents were very supportive. But I didn't want to ask them. They didn't make these kids. I did. And I worked, I hustled, I worked more than one job. I did everything that I could. I got educated, learned more things so that I could make a little more money. And I mean, in the long run, of course, that did pay off. I am a nurse, but it wasn't always that simple. It wasn't. And there were some really tough moments where, hey, we're camping out in the living room because the lights are out, and I don't get paid until Friday, so I can't get it back on until Monday or Tuesday. So, these were realities for us.
What advice would you have for people that can relate to your story?
I have to say, take things moment by moment. Nobody's perfect. The only way for us to learn is to get out there and mess some things up. So be willing to grow. Be willing to learn from the mistakes, because everything comes around again. When it comes around again, you want to make a different choice, even if it's similar to the last one. that slight change might make all the difference in the world.
Exactly.
And it's okay to be not okay. It's okay to not make the absolute perfect decision, because you can't. You weren't born to perfect people who weren't born to perfect people who weren't born to perfect people who weren't born in a perfect society. And still, this is where we are. I mean, there's these big movements about, embracing your truth and all these things. That's wonderful, but you still have to find the reality in that. You're allowed to be perfectly imperfect. This is your life. This is your life. And your life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. My uncle said that to me. I was 27, 28 years old, and I was trying to go back to school, and I was frustrated. And I said, Uncle Bruce, I feel like no matter what I do, it fails. He said, baby girl, you have been through so much.
Right.
Life is a marathon, baby girl. It's not a sprint.
Right.
So take a deep breath and give yourself a break.
That's right.
So the things that I would tell anybody, you're not perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. Even if you're a perfectionist, that doesn't exist. Right. You can have everything neat and tidy, and there's still going to be that one thing that you're going to obsess over. You'll make yourself crazy. Be okay with occasionally not being okay. Every hair is not going to be in place.
Right.
Right.
Right. Not only that, I always tell people, when it comes down to it, you have to be able to accept your reality, whatever that reality is. You have to be real within yourself. You got to be, if nobody's going to be real with you, you have to be real with you. And you have to accept your circumstances. And then when you do that you look within that time, within whatever's going on in your life, you're able to give yourself the opportunity to deal with it. And once you do that, and you get to that part that you're dealing with it, then at that point, you're able to move on with your life. And
it's not only that, people get bogged down with those circumstances. It becomes who they are. You're working a job that you don't like, and this circumstance surrounding this situation is how they identify themselves. You are not the mistakes that you've made. That's not who you are. It's what you've done. It's what you've been through. It's a decision. You're not the job that you work. You work at McDonald's. If that's what you want to do, you want to make a career out of it. There are some people in corporate America, McDonald's, that are getting paid. Embrace that. If you're good at it, do it. But don't let your circumstance bog you down. If you're staring at this thing right here, then you're not looking at all this over here, and you're missing something, right? You're missing something. I mean, our minds are very clever, very, very efficient, right? Mm-hmm. And if we get stuck looking at a circumstance, then, whatever pops into your brain is what you go with, right? Oh, I'm upset, I'm jealous, that's not where you don't have to live in that space, right? And it may take going to counseling. It may take, talking to somebody. It may take doing some journaling. It may take, doing the extra work, doing some meditation, walking outside barefoot. It may take the extra effort, but that's self-care. I mean, real self-care, not just, I got my hair done today. That real self-care where you're actually taking a look inside and saying, I am okay. I did screw a whole lot of stuff up, but I'm okay. I'm still here. I'm wiser for it. I got smarter. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not that person over there now. I'm this person right here. So I can work on being better tomorrow. My goal every day when I get up is first to thank God for allowing me to open my eyes and for watching over my family. And honestly, it's for giving me the presence of mind to enjoy the space that I'm in right now.
Right.
Being able to help other people understand you are not the circumstance. This is not who you are. You're not defined by the mistakes that you've made. You're not defined by your past. You are not defined by the things that other people have done to you, what other people have put you through. That's not who you are. That's what you've been through. And I've started an organization, Perfectly Imperfect for Life. It isn't a life goal to be imperfect, but it is who I am for life. Exactly. I'm imperfect, and it's okay. I just want to convey that to as many people as I can, whoever needs to have that space. If nobody's going to hold it for you, hold it for yourself. If you can't find love outside of you, it's because it's already inside you. But you have to give yourself some space. You got to give yourself some time. Really, and moving from one thing to the next isn't going to get it. You have to give yourself some time, and you have to allow yourself to be not okay if you're not okay today.
Yes, and prayer, and people need to understand also that prayer is everything. You know, in order for you to be able to move on and be able to deal with the things, you know, you have to be able to find that peace within yourself. You know, and you're gonna conquer that by speaking to the Lord, by connecting with the Lord. He's gonna bring you peace. You know, he's gonna, you know, just being able to vent and talk to God. And I always say, I speak to God like he's my best friend, like he's my father, that he is, you know, my heavenly father, you know, so I don't come to him with the fear of him judging me or him criticizing me. I just know that when I come to him, whatever I bring to him, he says, bring me your worries and your concerns. And in return, I give you my peace. You know, so he will fill you with peace, but you have to be willing to surrender and allow him to come into your life so that he can work within you and through you. But that is a connection. That is something that's going to take some time. It's progress, you know, little by little. As long as you pray every single day and you connect with God every single day, you'll see he will show you that he's there. Because I tell everyone, no matter what, when you call on God, he's going to show up. And that's a guarantee. You know, he does not forsake us. He does not play games. You know, he's the one source that you can go to with all confidence. You know that no matter what you say, no matter how it is that you're feeling or what you say, you can feel confident enough to release that information, to speak to him, and know that once you do that, you can walk away from that and know that moving forward, he's going to take care of that situation for you.
That's right.
But you have to believe. You have to believe, and you have to say, you know, I prayed to God, you know, I just laid it all out to him, and I feel great because I know that he's going to take care of it moving forward. You know, and that right there by itself brings a lot of love and peace to you. You know, I mean, it does for me. You know, because I've gone through, what haven't I gone through? You know, and the only thing that's kept me insane, you know, kept my sanity rather, you know, and helped me get through the situations that I've gone through in my life has been my connection and faith in my God. I depend on my God. You know, I have, you know, in the past where I just felt like, oh, wait a minute, you know, God's not answering my prayer right when I expect him to. You know, don't set expectations on God. Don't put him on a schedule, because when you go to him, you got to let him do what he has to do. Let him do what he does. And you just walk away knowing that confidence that it's going to be taken care of. Because a lot of people, where their discouragement and their you know, they get discouraged, and they also get angry, and they get bitter because they pray and they expect to wake up the next day and everything is all taken care of. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And we all wish, we all wish.
I mean, hey, if I wake up with $1 million in the account tomorrow, I'm not going to be sad about that. I might take a day off. I mean, you're 100% right. God speaks to us in that still small voice, and we are instructed to pray without ceasing, and to pray with expectation, without doubt. And that's right. We doubt so much. Oh, I don't know if this is going to happen. And it's not even so much that I won't even go so far as to say people are doubting God, but they're doubting themselves. And still, it's not. If I know that I have the ability to help somebody else do something, then why would I doubt that I can do that?
Exactly.
If I don't know what to do in a situation, I can be honest in the situation and say, you know what? I'm not sure. Let's try this. But again, you can't learn if you don't mess up.
Exactly.
You don't try, you're never going to grow.
Right.
There's just no way to do it. I've leaned on God my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that until, even recently, watching him take, my youngest daughter. Oh my gosh. And you know what we go through with her.
Yes. And
I've
still
never been.
Look at how he has worked through that child, where she knows because you taught her.
Right.
Exactly. You taught her about God, and you taught her the fundamentals that she needed to know in order to, when she's up against adversity and she's up against trials and she's up against, life, she knows deep down, even if she falls within that pit, she knows that she's only a prayer away from pulling herself out of that darkness. Right. Not only that, she has her family and loved ones and everybody that are there 1,000%, no matter what.
Right.
And having that is everything, and that's the one thing that I'll say, because when I was a baby girl, I was raised in the Seventh-day Adventist church. And so I know since a child, I've always had a real connection with my Lord. I've always been the one as a little girl kneeling down in front of my bed and talking to God, and, going to my grandfather and my grandmother, and because they were the ones that raised me, and just knowing that I had that extra person along the side of my two best people, my grandfather and grandmother. Right. And having that was everything for me. And I'm talking about, I was a little girl. I was a baby. And I knew how to drop to my knees and pray when I needed to, and now as an adult and throughout my whole life and all the obstacles and everything that I've gone through in my life, I always knew that I can call on him, and no matter what, he's going to show up. And that right there for me, right there, just me saying that part right there is everything. It's everything. Because when you have that certainty and you have that, that within you, knowing that you have somebody, whether you can see them physically or not, that's what faith is. Having hope in something that you cannot see,
Exactly.
But knowing that, that power right there is big. His power is big. When he's ready to come in, he comes in with us. Right. He's great. I love that. I love my God. I do, because I know me, and I know how I can get when I'm upset, and especially when I was young, not now as an adult, but when I was young, I was a little hothead, and I would always be like, this ain't happening fast enough for me, or why am I going through this? And, and I'm just going about my way. But I knew how to check myself. Even then I knew how to check myself and say, bring it down a little bit. Bring it down and give him that opportunity to step in, because you can whine and cry and be pissed off and you can say whatever you want. But if you don't fall back and humble yourself and allow God to step in and do what he has to do for you in your life, then that's right. What you're going to do the rest of your life. You're going to fuss and you're going to complain and you're going to nag and you're going to be so
upset. It's always going to feel like you're not getting what you need. It's always going to feel like it's just not working. You have to give him that space to work within your life. Make your plans, right? Make a plan, but leave some room, leave some wiggle room, because there's so many things that he's going to weave in between to kind of make you even stronger than what you could possibly fathom. And it's extraordinary to even watch, to look back, because we see things 2020 in reverse.
Right.
When you're going through it, it's like, I'm just being burned. But when you look back, you can see all those perfect places, all those places where it's like, he put this down, covered this up, he opened that door, he shut that window. It's amazing. It's such a blessing.
It really is. So you are, share with us, you are a nurse, right? And you are founder, as you said, perfectly imperfect for life. That's an
Yes.
awesome organization that you put together. And so tell the audience just a little bit about yourself and what that stands for.
As I've said, we sometimes are trying to live up to someone else's idea of who we're supposed to be. More often so than not. You see it within religions, you see it within families, you see it within cultures. This expectation that you have to be this thing or that thing. And it's very difficult at times to live up to someone else's expectation. So with Perfectly Imperfect, it's not meant to, the purpose of the organization is not for you to simply tell everybody, screw off, leave me alone. That's not it. It's to introduce yourself to yourself the way God sees you, so that you can live up to the potential that He placed in you. We all have a gift, we all have a purpose. Your purpose may not be to be in front of a big crowd. One of the things that I learned, and it's a humbling thing, that with this type of connection, there's a huge responsibility. But my responsibility comes in waves, and it's like an ebb and a flow. I'm not meant to be anybody's pastor. I don't want to, even if I did want to. Now, don't get me wrong. If God says, I need you to do this, I'm going to do this. But I don't believe that's the situation, right?
Right.
I learned to first be obedient. If He gives me a word, I can tell the word exactly the way He does and not connect myself to it. I'm not living up to this person over here, their expectation of who I am, but I'm living up to the expectation that I am supposed to be who God created me to be. He already knows that I'm dirt. Created Adam from the dust of the ground. He already knows that we're dirt. He already knows that we have stuff. He knows it. If Adam and Eve are the first man and woman alive, He knows we have stuff. We don't need to hide that from Him. So the perfect part is just opening up and allowing yourself to be completely seen by God. He can see you anyway. It's not about Him watching you take a bath. It's about Him seeing your heart. One of the things that's pointed out in Scripture is that man looks at the outer self. God looks at the inner man.
Exactly.
Are you looking at your inner man? Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
You can be who you are in your inner man out every single day. Mm-hmm. And you can live that as perfectly as you can. Doesn't mean you won't make any mistakes. That's the imperfect part.
Right.
Learning to embrace yourself. This is what your life is. Your whole life, you're still going to be you. If you move down the street from all the riffraff over here, but you were part of the riffraff, you're still riffraff.
That's right. You're going to take it with you everywhere you go.
I think my mom used to watch a movie, and one of the lines in the movie was, no matter where you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm. And that's so true, though. That's so true. You gotta give yourself time to work within yourself. Get to know you, but in the process, get to know God first. And that's important because He's the one that's going to open up your truth. He's the one that's going to show you who you are and reveal to you, what you need to know so that He can take you to that next step in your life.
The only thing He asks, trust me, try me. That's it. He's not asking for much of anything else. The world requires a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
God wants our obedience.
The Lord says, or what I'd rather say is when you go to God and you ask God to give you strength to endure, the things that are going on in life, you're going to receive just that. Whatever you pray for, as long as you have faith, that's what you're going to receive. Mm-hmm. And so, I think that it's important that people really know how to just let go. Let go and let God. Just let Him do it. Let Him do His thing. And you just chill. Just chill out. He says it in the Bible where He says, stay still. Be still.
Right.
for
Be
I am
still
God.
and know that I am God.
That's
Exactly.
right. There you go. So, and for me, those words are so powerful. And if you hold on to one of your favorite scriptures or anything in the Bible that you can, that really you can relate to, or something that really, just really does something to your spirit, hold on to that. And say that throughout your days, every day, include that with affirmations, include that with meditation, prayer, Bible studies. There's just so much that you can do to help build yourself and uplift yourself. You don't always have to be down. Just because you don't have the things that you may want, you may not be happy with your circumstances. You may have gone through so much.
Exactly.
I'm talking from experience. I'm a mother of 3 where I was kidnapped. I was shot in front of my 3 children. We were held hostage for 9 hours in a closet, where I had no other choice but to lean on my God. Every time that I came in and out of consciousness, I prayed to my Lord. And it was crazy how, and I say this because it's amazing how the offenders, when they did what they did to me, their whole demeanor was so demonic. They were evil people, Yet here I'm in the hands of the enemy. And I'm holding on to my God. And with God's power, how I was able to witness these people's demeanor go from something so evil to now being concerned about what they just did to me and my kids. The person that shot me came in the closet like, hey, let me see what I did to you. And he's lifting my shirt and he wants to see where the injury was at. He runs and he gets me Pepsi and Advil. And he comes back with blankets and pillows for the kids. He uncuffs my son from my left leg. He's freaking out. He don't know what to do. Long story short, I remember when they grabbed me out of that closet, put me into a vehicle, before they dumped me off at this abandoned gas station, he apologized to me the entire way there. And my point is that how darker can it get than that? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Daniel in the lion's den.
Yes. I had less than 2 pints. Yes. I had less than 2 pints of blood left within me when they found me. And I'm alive today by his grace, but it was my faith in him and how he was able with his power to shift that energy from such evil to the opposite of that. God will bring light where there's darkness. He will. When there were so many concerns about me and not having the right amount of blood in the blood bank for me, and they were asking everybody, to get tested, and because I needed a blood transfusion, all of a sudden the doctor goes downstairs, and what happens? There's more than enough of my blood type in the blood banks. I'm sorry, and and then it's like I tell people. With my story, me being trapped, being in the hands of the enemy, and how God just said, hold up, wait a minute. Yeah. She's not going nowhere yet.
Not yet.
She ain't going anywhere. And so he started making a way for me. And he provided everything that I needed to get through that situation. And here I am today. So for me, that's everything. That's more than powerful. What else do I need to know that God is true? He's real.
Exactly.
He's real.
Oh, yeah.
You understand?
Oh, yeah.
And I would never question him. I would never doubt him. I go through what I go through because at the end of the day, life is going to happen regardless. And we cannot fight the inevitable. We all know that. But in the midst of all of that, you have somebody you can lean on. Why not? On top of that, make him your first source. But there are also people that you can lean on, that you can reach out to. There's, 800 numbers where you can reach out to someone if you have to, whatever it is that you need help in. Just reach out. Yeah, reach out to somebody. There is help, and so I tell people, don't be too proud. Don't be too proud. Just be humble and accept whatever comes your way as far as help goes. Don't be too proud to say, yes, I need. If you need, go for it. Because you know what? Tomorrow, someone else is going to need from you. And
That's
then you
right.
can
Pay it forward.
in turn, pay it forward and help out the next person. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Because life happens and it's a cycle, and it
And it
goes and
happens
it
to
goes.
all of us.
Right.
It
And I
happens to
mean, there's
all of
so
us.
much. Yeah. And
Right.
there's so much going on right now in the world that we need each other.
We
Everybody
do.
needs to help out. People need to show love and kindness and compassion. People need to be able to say, you know what, even if you don't know that person, if you see that person and God will speak to you. If God speaks to you and tells you that person needs you, stop what you're doing and go give that person a helping hand. Because
Right.
you never know. And I'm one that when it comes to certain things, I pay close attention to my Lord. And when he speaks to me, I'll know exactly what to do because he will tell
That's
you.
that obedience. That's that
He will,
obedience. Be
he will
willing to
tell
go
you.
when he says go. He'll let you know what to do, and he'll give you what you
Absolutely.
need to do for him. He works through us. So
That's
we have
right.
to allow ourselves to be open vessels for him. And that's
Right.
it's difficult at times, but it's so worth it. It is well worth it.
It is. Yeah. So much blessings to you and your family. You've come a long way. You're awesome. You're beautiful inside out. It's been an honor to know you for so long and to be a part of your life. But I see greatness for you, and I see greatness happening for your business because you have so much to offer as well, to others, so God bless you and your family, and thank you for appearing today on the Pain to Purpose series. And I see that you just proved that point, how we've endured all that pain, but we have a purpose today that we're serving others.
Exactly.
So that's amen to that. Amen to that. So all praise and glory and honor to our Father because he deserves it all.
Yes.
And God bless you and your family. And we will keep in touch.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.